I think you're wise to identify that there are risks here. And that's something that in proselytizing the benefits of psychedelics, it can be easy to gloss over. But there are risks. They are real and they are tangible and they are significant. Some people don't come back from missteps on this path. And I consider myself someone who can use them, or has used them, I should say, with intentionality and support. And it's been fairly safe. And even then, there have been significant burns or points of injury resulting from a lack of awareness of how to integrate, specifically the integration. And so I can say historically where I'm coming from, the context, and I think that will give more information. And then I can say where I'm at today with it. I'd love to hear your thoughts too.
Hmm.
So for context, I think throughout my life, this radical invitation for plasticity has felt like a limitless gift and just pure good. Because, oh my gosh, I can change. Wow, that's wonderful. And we know from the research on this of people on longitudinal studies of folks who have done psychedelics, that generally folks who have done psychedelics are happier than people who haven't. And so I, for a long time, thought there's this personality test and there's this measurement of openness, which is highly correlated with life satisfaction and relationships and happiness. And people who do psychedelics score better after they do psychedelics the day after, the month after, a year after, 5 years after, compared to when they haven't done psychedelics. So I was like, oh, it's like a vitamin. It's only good. And then I noticed after the first summer where I started to do acid, I did acid a number of times, maybe 6 times in four months, which I consider to be a lot. And some of my best friends, people I really admired and respected and trusted, had almost like an intervention for me where they sat me down and they're like, hey, Blake, just want to let you know, we're really concerned about you. We really think the acid's changed you. And I had this Jay-Z line come to mind, which is, do you think I worked this hard to stay the same? And I was like, oh yeah, it did change me. That's why I did it. And at the time I think I was scared of their sincerity or the possibility that they were seeing elements of me changing that weren't pleasant. And I think a wiser person in that moment would have done more to listen and to understand. And I really tried. I really tried to do what I've heard for feedback, which is really helpful, which is not to like defend or like seek to explain yourself, but to just ask questions and to receive the gift that someone is offering, so long as you trust them and you feel safe. But I just couldn't understand. I didn't get. They're like, I just didn't understand what they were seeing. And it wasn't until recently, like many years later, 5 or 6 years later, at least, where my now wife said similar things after I would return from ceremony. And 3 times in a row, I returned from ceremony, one even with them, with her. And there was moments of tension or of conflict in the days, usually like the immediate, like 1 to 5 days following, where I was in this state of connection and transcendence and like awareness of the beautiful reality that I participate in. And yet my social skills were lacking, or I was dropping the ball, or I was thinking I had these grand insights that deserved immediate attention and that, no, I see clearly and this is true and we have to do this. And in those spaces, the first time, the second time, and the third time, I caused harm. Well-intentioned action, motivated from what felt like love and connection and joy. But in hindsight, I think was like, I've spent a lot of time just really trying to learn from what others have said, and also to study and to listen and to reflect on what I feel. And what I've come to realize in the past couple of months is there was a big ball or bundle of energy inside of me, and it was looking for a way out. And I think I lacked the clarity or the level of discernment to identify what the best way to spend that energy was. And so when I smelt an opportunity, I wasn't actually so like careful to check if this is the thing that needs to be like throw my spirit and myself at. I was just grateful for the like I'm alive and I have vigor. And I brought, I think in some cases, too much to it. Too many of my hopes, too many of my fears. I just indiscriminately directed or sprayed them, thinking that I was somehow like, I don't know, like not enlightened. I've never thought that, but connected to a sense of knowing that was infallible. I think I lost humility in those moments. And so what I've really been trying to listen, and honestly, a lot of this comes from indigenous teachings from from the regions I grew up, is to communicate to the people I'm going to be interacting with what I'm going through so that they're informed, and then also to budget time on the back end of these traditions where I'm not thrust back into normalcy or responsibility, and to really like 4 or 5 days to a week, like maybe even like if I could like spend time in a cabin or spend time like doing things that are very gentle and not like rushing back into relationships or into responsibilities. And
Right.
we just to finish, we know, yeah,
No, go for it.
we know that the neuroplasticity from things like psilocybin and ayahuasca, it eases off or it decreases like linearly. So on the first day after, you're fairly plastic, and the second day after, you're still pretty plastic, and it goes down day by day by day. So as far as I understand from the neuroscience, generally somewhere around a week, it's like way lower. It's at like a third of what it was in the middle or just coming out of the experience. And then after, at that point, it's very manageable for most folks. And you can still change your behaviors or like install new habits with more ease and flexibility, but you're not in that place of like, whoa, everything's changing. Everything can be flexible.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Today Dreamer, a podcast and YouTube channel where we explore the interplay between inner and outer work, and we look at what cultivating the practice of presence within our lives feels and looks like once we clear the mind and open the heart. So this is just a short clip from a full podcast episode, which I'll leave a link to around here somewhere. And if you'd like to check out the whole catalogue of episodes along with guided meditations and what I have on offer, please head over to todaydreamer.com and have a peek. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and click the little notification bell so you don't miss any of the good stuff to come.